You know what Tennessee is? Tennessee is the new Bryson DeChambeau compared to the old Bryson DeChambeau. So for those who are not golfers, I'll briefly explain. When DeChambeau first became a big thing, he was all about the big drive, and that's kind of what he was. That's all you knew him for. He was a guy who was going to step up and hit the ball further than everybody else, and that was really fun to watch, and it was great, and he was a really good player. But do you know when he got better, started winning major championships? When he became a guy who the rules have to change so that he can be included on the Ryder Cup team? When the rest of his game followed suit. When his short game then allowed him to get up and down from, 30, 50 yards, I don't even remember, at the U.S. Open to the 18th from a bunker. That shot wasn't in Bryson's bag a couple of years ago. This is what I like about Tennessee. When they first arrived as, hey, Josh Heupel is a good coach. He's got them rolling in a way that they hadn't before. It was, we're going to go score a bunch of points, but also we're not going to stop anybody. And I had questions about their defense coming into the year. They look like they've answered them, at least from where I'm sitting, because Tennessee is no longer, hey, they're just about the offense. They're just about explosive passing plays. No, I can see them win the game through the air, though, Nico's got to clean up the turnovers a little bit. He's young. He's learning. That can change in a good way, of course. They can win with the explosive passing plays. They can win running the football. They win in the trenches. They can win with defense. They look like a well-rounded, complete football team. Would I pick them to beat Alabama or Georgia or Texas right now? No, because of the quarterback position. I like Nico. I think Nico's doing a lot of really good things. You still see the freshman mistakes. If you clean up the turnovers by the time Alabama comes to town, maybe I'll feel differently. But if that game were this week, whether in Knoxville or in Tuscaloosa, of course, Alabama's hosting Georgia this week, I'd still pick Alabama to win the football game. But Tennessee, for me, had two major questions coming into the year. What are you going to be on defense? And what are you getting out of Nico now that he's a full-time starter? Well, it's pretty clear. Nico can execute the offense at a high level, and man, when he makes a good throw, that long touchdown to Dante Thornton, that's zippy. That's a zippy throw. That was a beautiful thing to watch. But Tennessee has got more than one way to beat you. That's what I like about the Vols through the first few games. So if you give me, and those other teams in the SEC, they're well-rounded too. I watched Texas go into Ann Arbor and beat the brains out of Michigan. They ran the football. They didn't let Michigan run it. They won with defense. They had an explosive passing game. Texas had the whole arsenal. Alabama's got the most explosive passing game maybe in the country with Jalen Milroe and Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams and company. And I know that Kalen DeBoer is going to be able to win close games. I think Tennessee can win close games. They haven't had to play one yet, but that's to their credit. I think you'd hear people perhaps say that as a negative against the Vols, like, oh, well, they haven't had to play a close game yet. The Oklahoma game, I think everybody knows that game wasn't actually very close. The final score was them winning by 10, which is about what I had. I had them winning by 11, slightly more high scoring, but there was just some good defense being played that night. I'm okay with that. Every game doesn't need to be, TCU and UCF in the Big 12 where, everybody's putting up 40 to 50 points a game. Doesn't have to look that way. That's all right. I think for Tennessee, if Nico cleans up the turnovers, you got a chance against Alabama. I'm not into the Tennessee is going in and beating Georgia and that the Vols are ready to do that. Like, no, the Vols look good. They look complete. They look balanced. They look versatile. Heupel's been there a few years. He knows what his offensive system is. They know they want to run the football. They can ride the run game. They can ride Nico a little bit more. I don't think we've seen Nico have to take over the game because Tennessee really on both sides of the ball dominated that game in the trenches, and the defense forced turnovers, and the defense was good situationally. Everything about Tennessee looks good. The next question, because the defensive question I think for me has been answered through the first 4 games, the next question is, does Nico take that next step to where he has a 350 to a 400-yard passing game because Tennessee can't run the football? Because it's not going to be as easy to run the ball on Alabama or Georgia, for instance. But those are the big games remaining on Tennessee's schedule, and then you look at the rest of it and you go, as long as they avoid an upset, kind of feels like they're good. So I'd put them 4th out of those 4 SEC teams that I just listed. I didn't put Ole Miss in there because I haven't seen Ole Miss play anybody yet. So I don't really know. Their schedule is not big. They played Wake Forest and they blew them out. Like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's great. But if you ask me to rank SEC teams 1 through 4 in some order, I would put Texas, Georgia, and Alabama, not necessarily in that order. And the fourth team would be either Tennessee or Ole Miss. I probably lean towards the Vols because they've had the opportunity to show me more. And I don't think Oklahoma is a great team, but I don't think they're a bad team. And I don't think NC State is a good team. I don't think they're a horrific. Okay. I'll back off on the NC State front because we'll see how the Wolfpack finished this year. It's not looking very good so far, but I'm impressed with the Vols. Here's who I'm not impressed with, and nobody should be, and nobody is. Auburn. Oh my goodness. Look, I said I'm okay with a little bit of mucking it up, a little bit of sloppy play, a little bit of defense ruling the day. Auburn, Arkansas was a tough watch. I mean, just a brutally tough watch. Also, this is a brutal situation for Auburn to be in. They play their first 5 games at home. They play Oklahoma this week. I don't even know what to make of that game. I'm not even going to talk about it right now. Arkansas quarterback Taylon Green finishes the game 12 of 27 for 150 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. He leads the team in rushing with 80 yards, and Arkansas wins at Jordan-Hare by 10. By 10. Oh, yikes. Turnovers galore for the Auburn Tigers. If Hugh Freeze doesn't right, I don't know why that came out as Freeze. If Hugh Freeze doesn't right this ship by the end of the season and find a way to win at least 6, if not 7 football games, I don't think he gets fired at the end of the year. But going into year 3, it'll be the hottest of hot seats in the college football world. It will be one of the hottest seats. You know, like what Sam Pittman had coming into this year, but he's cooled it down because, well, they're 3-1 and their 1 loss. They should have won the football game in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. They put up over 600 yards of offense. So I don't think Arkansas is a great team. I think there's a horrible loss for Auburn. Season's not over because my expectation or goal for Auburn coming into the year was, hey, can you win 7-8 games? Well, you still can. You still have that opportunity, but I don't know which games you're going to win if you hold an opposing quarterback under 50% completion with 2 interceptions at your home stadium and you're losing by double digits. This is bad. This is trending in the wrong direction for the Auburn Tigers. I was talking about the Vols being a very complete SEC team. They have multiple ways they can win. Auburn's got no ways they can win. Now, I think Auburn's defense is actually pretty good, but their defense is asked to do so much because the offense is inept. They sat around and said, no, we're good with Peyton Thorne. We'll roll Hank Brown out there every now and then. We're good at quarterback. Well, you're clearly not. That was not the right move because I think Auburn's defense is good. I know they gave up the big play on 3rd and 19. I know it wasn't all perfect from the Tigers defensively. It rarely is, even for great defensive performances. Auburn's defense is not the problem. You've got a good defense. You have got good wide receivers and a great running back and nothing to show for it. That reflects poorly on the coach. That reflects poorly on the quarterback, who is, of course, coached by the head coach. And Bo Wallace didn't have nice things to say about Hugh Freeze. I wonder how those comments are going to, shall we say, age, because Bo Wallace is out there just ripping Hugh Freeze on Twitter, saying he's not a good guy, he's only out for himself and all this sort of stuff. It doesn't help. It doesn't help Hugh Freeze to have guys like that taking public shots because every little bit can add up. Nothing is going to make or break Hugh Freeze's hiring or firing in one game or in one moment, but every little thing adds up. And Bo Wallace coming out and just saying, yeah, that guy's overrated. That guy's not any good. That guy never helped me or never did this, that, and the other thing. Not a great thing to see. But Auburn, good defense, great receiving core, good running backs. They're wasting it all. They are wasting it all, and it feels like this could spiral because the offense has absolutely nothing to show for it.